Hi, this is Merrick Marquis, VP of Sales over at Map My Customers, here for our 4th episode of our video blog. The topic this week is cold calling. Is cold calling dead? What are some of the challenges of modern cold calling? And how do you remain authentic and focused on problem solving on a cold call? The first piece that I'd like to address is cold calling dead? And I don't think so, and Map My Customers doesn't think so, and a lot of our companies around here don't think so. I think cold calling is hard, and cold calling is probably as hard as it has ever been, but I think it is still a feasible strategy specifically for outbound. The reason that we think that cold calling is still effective is it's different, right? So the biggest way that I could emphasize this to you is think about social selling, right? When social selling first came out a few years ago, everyone was talking about social selling. Everyone wanted to jump on LinkedIn, and it was the great savior for outbound efforts. And I don't hear a lot of people talking about social selling anymore, right? It was anything that everyone could talk about for a long period of time, but now social selling is not as hot. I would argue that the reason why is that channel for outreach to prospects is much busier than it ever used to be. I still don't think it's as busy as, say, email, but it's a much busier channel. And in a lot of industries and a lot of sales processes, people aren't used to getting cold calls, especially in the sales and marketing world. In IT, those guys get cold calls all the time. In a world like sales and marketing, a cold call is still fundamentally different. It's unique. And by being unique, you can get more attention and higher connection rates, right? Which is always one of the biggest holdups within funnels. So the second point that I'd like to address is, what is the challenge with modern day cold calling? And I think the biggest challenge is it's not just calling someone up, quickly going into your pitch, and then just moving on. You have to connect with people. What you're quickly doing is you're giving the end user the ability to say no, and giving them an out, and they're giving you the time to give your pitch, and then you're quickly telling them why you're calling and why it's important that they should care. And that's one of the fundamental elements that people get away from, is they call people and just start pitching. But if you don't tell someone why they should care to your message, they're already tuned out to your message, right? So if you don't tell someone that this is why I'm calling you, and this is why you should listen to me, and this is why you should care about this random cold call you got, all you're going to get in response is a click on the other end of the phone as they hang up. The last thing that I want to mention is the importance of authenticity and problem solving on cold calling. What people often forget is that cold calling is just another medium of communication with prospects, right? And as with any communication with prospects, you're laying the groundwork for relationships with your future customers, right? You need to be treating them appropriately as part of that, right? And there's a reason you are reaching out to them, right? You have these key value props that are important to them. You have these key solutions. There's a reason that your product is differentiated in the marketplace. And more likely than not, they either are already talking about those things internally and you're just connecting into their internal problems, or they haven't thought about those things and they really should be. Either way, they should be talking to you. There's a reason they should be talking to you, and you need to formulate that conversation and explain that to them in a manner that they can really truly connect with. Thank you guys for joining as always. This was our 4th video blog. Quick shout out to Nishanth in Denver for the question. As always, what we're trying to do with these is start a conversation. We've had some good back and forth with them each week. Thank you again for your time, and I'll talk to you next week.